Well, here I am right next to the green, and we're really going to get into the analysis of how to choose the right club. And again, I do have numerous choices. I could putt this ball, I could use a fairway wood, I could use a sand wedge all the way up through my driver if I wanted. I have a whole host of clubs I could use. Now, one of the errors that people make sometimes is that they decide that they're just going to be a one-club chipper. You know, that way there's no decision making. I'm just going to chip with my 8-iron, or I'm just going to chip with my sand wedge. Well, the reason you don't want to do that is that when you do it that way, you have to change your swing all around. Every little shot, you have to change the swing and do it a little bit differently to get it to go higher or lower or run more or whatever the case. And changing your swing all over the place really makes it difficult for making that solid contact every time. You know, there's a reason why you have so many clubs in your bag. That's because you want to be able to make a similar swing and have a different result. Not so many different swings. You could play the whole golf course with your 3-iron if you wanted, but you might not do too well. So let's talk about why we want to use different clubs for the different shots and talk about where we want to land this ball. Now, I really have some choices. I can get this ball on the green here, just a couple of yards away from me. I could fly it nearly halfway there into this area. I could also take a very lofted club and fly it almost all the way to the hole. So what is actually the choice here, and what's going to affect my decision is how the ball's going to react. When I have to fly the ball all the way across the green, there's a couple of factors that come into play here that I need to take note of. If I'm going to fly the ball all the way across the green here, this ball's probably 20 yards from me now. So the spot that I need to hit to is much farther than the one up by the green there. That's nice, but it's not the kicker. The other thing that happens here is that the swing that I need to make for that shot over there is smaller than this swing, which is a bigger swing. Again, still not the kicker though. The kicker is that when I have to fly the ball across the green, it comes in with height. And so now I'm much more dependent on how hard the green is. And I don't know how hard the green is, and there's no way to tell until after I hit. So all of a sudden I have a situation where I may fly it across the green and hit my spot perfectly and still get a bad result. It might stop faster than I want. It might run on farther than I want. So I've got a factor that's out of my control. When I have a ball that's coming in flat, where I want to land it on the green just here, not only do I have a spot that's closer to me, I now know how the ball is going to react. This ball is going to run if I bring it in flat, and it's going to run every single time. 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000, it's going to run. It's not going to hit some bad spot, kick up into the air, and bite. So what I'm looking to do when I play a chip shot is I want to get that ball on the ground and running as soon as conditions will let me. Now, what that means sometimes is I've got my most lofted club, and I'm trying to hit it as high as I can. But for the most part, I want to try to get that ball low as I can. Now, this one I can play pretty low because I'm right next to the green. So what I've done here is to take a little straighter face club. I've got a 9-iron here. And though the pin is a little bit farther away, I usually would use a 7-iron for a shot like this, but the green's particularly firm. And that's something I want to factor into the formula. But I'm looking to get a low shot and let it run across the green. So that way I know how it's going to react. It's going to run. And so that way it becomes much more predictable in terms of what the shot is going to do. Now let's imagine a case, for example, where I do fly it across the green. And let's say that I'm going to use my lob wedge or sand wedge to fly it over here. Well, if I were to miss my spot by, say, 10 or 15 feet, which wouldn't be a terrible shot, you know, it's 20 yards away. Well, if I miss that spot by 15 or 20 feet and I misjudge how hard it was, maybe it was much softer than I thought, well, now I might hit this shot 15 or 20 feet from the hole, which would be a terrible result. So all of a sudden I've hit a shot that wasn't that bad that turns out awful. And you never want to have that case in golf. You want to have plenty of leeway. So that's why you want to bring the ball in flat whenever you can. Straighter face club is better. Now, what club exactly to choose? Well, I'm going to show you a way that you can get yourself at least into the ballpark. Now, no matter what we talk about here, you are going to need to practice to figure out what club you want to use. But for the most part, I want you to remember the number 12. If you can remember the number 12, you can get into the ballpark as to what club you're going to choose. The 9-iron, if I subtract whatever club I'm using from the number 12, it gives me a number. So a 9-iron, that's going to give me the number 3. Well, this particular club, the 9-iron, runs 3 times what it will carry. An 8-iron, if you subtract that from 12, that's 4. An 8-iron runs 4 times what it carries. So if you were to carry it 3 yards, an 8-iron would run 12 yards total. That's the carry distance compared to the overall distance it's going to run. So when I look at a shot like this is a shot where, flying it about right here might be a third of the way there. And you remember I talked about this green being a little bit hard, so I might fly it just a little bit shorter. But I'm in the ballpark for choosing the 9-iron here. I wouldn't want to choose the wedge because I'd have to fly it too far over here. So if you can remember the number 12, whatever club you're using, if you subtract it from the number 12, it'll give you that number, and that's the run out that the ball is going to have. So that'll put you in the ballpark for choosing the right club. Try this one out. I'm sure you're going to like it. And again, lots of practice with choosing those different clubs around the green.